They're all bots. Everyone's a bot.
I'm a bot.
Oh, we're not on Twitter. Okay. But we are live, I think.
Yep, it looks
so.
like
Hey,
it.
and welcome back to Talk About. Welcome back to Talk About Worlds. This is SirFelixTheCat and Hawk, and today we are on podcast number 20.
19? 20?
Yeah, last week was 19. We're on 20 now. We are talking about the legacy of Diablo. And yeah, before we get into that, how are you doing today, and what have you been playing?
I'm good, and I have been going back because I just did that list video of the Warhammer 40k video games, and I went back to Dawn of War 1 because it's been like a long time. So I'm playing through the campaign of all of the Dawn of War games from 1 all the way up to 2 Retribution, because there was no Dawn of War 3. I don't care what anyone says. It never came out. It unfortunately it got canceled. That's what happened. But how about you? How are you, and what have you been playing?
Oh, I'm wonderful. I've been playing a couple different things. Mainly Pokemon White 2. I gotta finish it. I finally went back to it. But then I was playing some stuff on Game Pass because I decided, like, I'm not a fan of horror games. I'll play them sometimes, but I'm not into it. So I booted up a game that I didn't think would be like true horror, and that's Dead Island 2.
Oh yeah, dude.
Dude, I got to the fucking second airplane. Like, I'm not even out of the wreckage yet. I got to the second airplane. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I noped out.
Like, I'm a gore hound with video games. Like, I love when it's bloody. I really love when it's bloody and messy. But like the gore in particular in Dead Island 2 is so realistic that it freaks me out, dude. Like, it's genuinely scary, but then also the zombies can come at you in a genuinely scary way. It's just it's scarier than you think it would be.
Yeah, I haven't even met anything yet, and I was already like, okay, this is a bit too much. This is not what I thought it was going to be. I was thinking something more like, and even though it was kind of scary, that Russian robot fighting one.
Oh, what was it called? Atomic Heart.
Yeah, Atomic Heart. Like, that one I didn't think was going to be a horror, even though it's a lot like BioShock, the first one.
Yeah.
And that was cool for a little bit, but then I got inside of a building, and besides the combat just destroying me, that one started to get to the point where it was horror, and I was like, no, I'm to the point where I'm like slowly creeping around every little corner because I don't want to walk out of a room. Yeah,
it's kind of creepy.
That's when I have to quit playing the game.
Atomic Heart was creepier than I thought it'd be. Like, when you get into like I think you go to like this underground bunker after everything goes to hell, and the vibe in there is pretty genuinely creepy.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, let's get into some news.
Oh boy.
Usually I have this ready, and I did not today. News. So the first one is some fun stuff. So World of Warcraft just launched its weirdest collab in 20 years. Oh. They can now be used on Waze. I don't know if you're familiar with Waze. WAZE. It's another Google Maps type thing.
Oh.
Yeah, you can see a little image of it behind him. Shows you like where his cops are chilling and whatnot. A little bit more detailed than Google Maps does it.
Well, if it shows you where cops are, it might be worth using.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so you can do that, because I know like Google Maps had Mario Kart at one point. They did a crossover there. One of them did Batman, I thought, and you could use the Batmobile for a short period of time.
So what's this crossover? Like, what do you do?
Let's see. I did not read that far. I just saw it was coming there, and I was like, that's interesting. They don't give us a picture. Why would they not give us a picture?
Because it's a internet article. It's probably written by an AI at this point.
Oh, you get to hear talking from, I'm assuming, an orc.
Oh, why? Why does
this
exist?
He will comment if you run into traffic, saying things like, breathe. This is not the end of the world.
Oh my God, dude. This is the equivalent of the people who, like, when you go to like a social gathering and you have your phone at like the highest audio setting with the most annoying ringtone for text messages. You know what I mean? Like this is that, but for maps. And I don't get it. I don't understand why someone would do this. Like, even if you love World of Warcraft, I just don't get it. It's weird.
Yeah, I'd like the Google ones, because like Google Maps, when they did the Mario Kart one, it lasted for like a week or so, and your car, like the car of you driving, was just Mario in his cart, and that was it. Like nothing special. It was just some dumb little thing to look at if you're like the passenger in the car while driving.
That I understand. It's still stupid, but I get that. This is just weird.
Yep. Now let's go on to someone who's showing that they have a huge pair on them. PUBG developer is making Pal World mobile. Yeah, Pocket Pair and Craft teaming up to put the game on phones. It's like Pocket Pair is basically looking at this like, yeah, we don't care. Hilarious.
Well, that to me tells me that they're confident in that they may win the lawsuit. So,
yeah, I mean, they already slapped the game on PlayStation. So, I mean, why not?
Yeah, or they're just trying to get as much money as possible right now.
Yeah, you gotta afford those lawyers.
Yeah. That's cool though.
I thought that was great. At least, I mean, it's good that it's going everywhere. I don't know how it's going to control on phone. I feel like you still need like a controller, like one of those controller grips for your phone in order to play this.
Oh yeah, like phone games that are anything more complicated than like side scrollers just don't work on phones, in my opinion. But if you have a controller thing, maybe that would be good. But outside of that, no.
Well, we'll talk about one later that plays well on phones. Fantastic.
Yeah, because everyone has a phone. So
yeah. And then here's one for you. So compromises were made. Space Marines 2 dev admits the shooter story was limited by its 3-player co-op, and they could have done way more if the 3-person squadron weren't permanently glued together.
Okay. So they wanted to do more
about
like
that?
Well, okay. So
hold on, let's talk about the first one really quick. So the first one, I didn't beat it. I played a little bit of it, but you were just the one dude, weren't you, for the most part? Like you met up with others, but you were mainly just Titus?
Yeah, so you play as Titus and you have 2 other squad mates, and they stick with you through parts of it. They're like, it's more like you run into them in a level and then you have a cutscene with them and then you go and do your own thing again.
Yeah.
Whereas with Space Marine 2, these guys are always with you, which is cool, but okay. So I like that they were always with you. It made me feel more like I was part of a unit instead of just a single unit who can just single-handedly destroy like an entire Tyranid hive fleet by himself, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But so like it also helped with the whole like brother stuff. You know, like part of what makes Space Marines so cool is brother. Like it's a dude's fantasy. Every dude's fantasy. It's a power fantasy. So it helped with that. But if they're saying that like if they hadn't had these 2 guys attached to you the whole time, they could have done more with the story or more with the maps or whatnot. I would have liked to have seen what they had planned before saying that I would prefer that, really.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, to me, I feel like they could have done a good story even with a crew. Because, I mean, if you look at the other games, at least every other Warhammer game I've played, you're not solo. You are never solo.
Yeah, I mean, I would have actually preferred, because like there are times in Space Marine 2 where, and it's cool how they did this. You have your single player campaign, which you could do co-op. But then you have your PvE multiplayer, or also solo. I've been doing it solo, but multiplayer PvE missions. And in the campaign missions, you have those 2 dudes, Gadriel, and I forget the other guy's name, the guy with the metal arm. Both are awesome. They're really cool characters, but you have them with you, and then you'll get like 3 or 4 Space Marines from another squad to help you with another objective, and they go off and they do their own thing. The PvE missions are them doing that thing. So it's like you're playing two sides of the campaign effectively, which is pretty cool. I like how they did that. But yeah, I mean, I would honestly like a whole tactical squad, like 5 to 10 men. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or I should say, sorry.
Now some sad news.
Squad.
I don't know if this news will be sad to you. It is sad to me, though. So Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive RPG is potentially canceled.
Oh.
And this is a Square Enix game where the first one came out on the Switch, and it was a hit among RPG fans. It did pretty well for a small game. It was a new title by Square Enix, and that is Triangle Strategy. They were working on a second one, and unfortunately, it's pretty much canceled.
That was that really good strategy game you've been telling me, or you were telling me about when you were playing it.
Yeah, you get to make all these choices and stuff. Like in between battles, you'll like meet up with your group in the castle, and you'll actually have to vote to see what's going on. In order to place the vote, you actually walk around and talk to all the other characters, and you can try to convince them to see things your way. So when you do place the vote, things are going to go the way you want them to. Like it's a whole like democratic process. That's
dope, dude.
Yeah, it's a dope little game, and sadly, we're not going to get another one.
Yeah, this is sad to me. Because I remember you talking about this one a lot, and I think I even like favorite it. If it's on Steam, it's definitely on my wish list. But it seemed like a really cool game, and of course, with Square Enix involved, something's got to go wrong. So, yep. So it does suck. That sucks.
Yep, it's not 100% confirmed yet. It was just leaked by Ryan from the Bronx, but he used to be Midori, who was a well-known Nintendo Switch leaker.
Oh, okay.
Well, he also did like Sega and stuff like that.
Nintendo hasn't sent out like a Yakuza hit squad to him yet, or
no? I mean, this Midori was getting away with it for a long time with all their stuff. It was crazy.
I'm surprised.
It was crazy how much they were getting out, and then they were the one who, like, I used to tell you, like, when I would hear some leak online, if it came from them, they were the only time I would actually tell you about it. It's like, hey, this is most likely true.
Okay. Yeah, there's a couple of them out there. Reliable leakers.
Yeah. And then more sad news. So Bloodstained Ritual of the Night director stepping back from sequel after cancer diagnosis.
Ooh.
I know I've told you about this game. This is
yeah.
If you like the old school Castlevanias, mainly like the one for PS1, Symphony of the Night. Yep. This is like the next best thing to it. Well, I mean, you also have like the ones there's one for Game Boy Advance and for DS, which are part of this new remake that just released for Castlevania, but this is the next best thing to Castlevania.
Yeah, and I know like Castlevania, if a Castlevania game dropped today, it probably would not perform as well as the people developing it would like it to. But I know the fan base for those types of games is still there and dedicated enough that like you could, as a smaller studio, you could drop one of these and make a decent amount of money on it. And I know this one in particular, you've talked about it, and it looked like it was pretty faithful to the whole design and idea of Castlevania. So it looks like this guy worked on Castlevania before, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure which ones he worked at. I'm pretty sure he did work on Symphony of the Night, though.
Yeah. That sucks, man.
Yeah, it's very sad.
I mean, he's in Japan, though, right?
Yep.
So he might be better off there than he would be here, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it's hopefully they can get him good care, and hopefully it's something that can be helped or fixed, but that sucks.
Yep. And then Chicken. Joker 2, whatever happened to DC Black? So the second Joker movie just dropped or is dropping soon.
Yeah, it's out or coming out.
Yeah, this one. And
it must be out because I saw someone posted a take of, who is this even for?
It's like, well, not for you then. Thank you. I mean, it is a musical at the same time. It has Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. So I can see some people being turned off to it. I like Lady Gaga and her one movie that she did with Philly guy. What's his name?
Philly guy. Who's Philly guy?
He played Rocket and Guardians of the Galaxy, Silver Linings Playbook.
Mark Wahlberg?
He was in The Hangover. No. I can't think of his name right now. I want to say Brad something, but I don't think it's Brad.
The guy.
Bradley Cooper.
Oh, Bradley Cooper. Okay. Philly guy.
Philly
guy.
guy.
Is he from Philly?
I believe so. He's a big fan of Philly.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so Todd Phillips, the director of Joker in the second one, is saying goodbye to DC. He's done with it. He was like, this movie, the first one really didn't have a reason to have a sequel, but one happened to come up as it was. So they went ahead and made it, but he has no plans on doing a follow-up. That is it. He's done. He's leaving DC. No more hero movies or villain movie.
Well, I get it. I get that. Like, I mean, I didn't see the second one. I'm not going to see the second one. I've only seen like one musical that I liked. Unexpectedly so. It took place in New York. It was pretty good. I forget the name though. But musicals aren't my thing. And if it's your thing, that's cool. That's fine. You know, whoever wants to watch this movie and likes it. But I don't think the Joker movie needed a sequel at all. I don't think it really should have had a sequel, to be honest.
Yeah, it was good how it was. They should have just left it there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there was a whole Black Label type DC universe they were going to go for to go run parallel along whatever the heck it is DC's trying to do with their mainline movies. And that's not going to happen now.
Well, you know what? I think that's a good thing in the end, because what happens to these giant franchises?
Yeah. Here's the meaning behind the DC Black. Independent-minded films about DC characters. So, I mean, that context is cool if you actually bring in like independent-minded people to make these movies.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling they stopped that. That's probably one of the reasons he's leaving, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Warner Brothers was like, oh, we have a hit. And did what Warner Brothers does and runs into the ground.
Strangled it to death in its crib.
Yep. Yeah, pushing away the mind behind it, which that's great. That is great.
It looks like David is here.
Oh, hey. Yeah. Lady Gaga is Harley Quinn. The fact that she's going to be in it and be singing, I was like, because the movie that she was in with Bradley Cooper, Star is Born, that is a really good movie. Like, I was kind of off. I was put off by it at first until I finally watched, and I was like, okay, I can get behind this one. But yeah, she should be good.
Well, yeah,
I want to see how she plays a crazy person.
Lady Gaga, she probably is crazy. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but she's probably nuts. That's what happens to these people. But I mean, like Lady Gaga, and you also kind of have to be nuts to be someone like Lady Gaga. She wore a meat suit, dude. Yeah. But she's super talented. She is really, really talented. I'm not a fan of her music, but she is a very good singer and a decent actor. So,
yep. And now for our last story, because it ties into what we're talking about. So Diablo 3 details season 33 plans. Did you know this game was still going?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Season 33 starts on October 25th.
Jesus. Who's playing this at this point, man?
People who didn't want to play 4 and don't have a cell phone.
Yo, but no, everyone has a cell phone though. No, but how have you been playing Diablo 3, which is not that great? Let's be real, okay? How have you been playing Diablo 3 for how long has it been? Like, what, 12, 13, 14 years?
Yeah, stupid long. That was PS3.
Like, dude.
Like PlayStation 3. We're already on the PS5. That is crazy.
It's not, I mean, like, I had fun with it when I played it. For like the first time, I had fun with it when I played it, but that was it. And now to play it for that many years, no thanks. Are they going to do it? How many seasons are they going to? Is this the last one?
They're going to go until people are done with it.
Good God, dude.
Which makes me question, how big is the 4's player base then?
Probably not as big as or no. So okay, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. That'd be a good thing to look up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the news. You can look that up.
But yeah, so Diablo as a whole has been around since, what did I say, 96 or something like that?
I think
so. Yeah, it's been a solid game, at least a little bit of a crazy story, but it's been fairly solid for like player base, decent sales, enough to keep the game alive, even if Blizzard sometimes wants to ignore it. I did read that the new DLC that's coming out, which inspired this whole episode, it is going to be the first Xbox Studio game that is rated for the PS5 Pro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Xbox is trying to tout that, and I was like, well, that's a weird thing to tout.
Yeah.
Why not just say it plays better on your system, even though that wouldn't be true? It'd play better on PC.
Hopefully. Yeah, I mean, well, hopefully. We're talking about Microsoft here. I mean, like, yeah, I know they make PCs, but like, well, actually, they make the software on PCs. They don't really make the PCs. But no, it's probably going to perform badly on everything.
Yep. Yeah, so that drops here on, what is that, Tuesday or something like that? It drops on the 8th of October. So yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
If anybody does play Diablo 4, have fun with that. Let us know how it is. I will be not playing that. I could probably play it on the Xbox if it's part of Game Pass. I would assume it might be. Just at least play Diablo 4.
I put like 60 hours into it, I'd say. Like 60 to 80 hours into Diablo 4. I got deep with the what's it called? The dude with the beats stuff and turns into a bear. The druid. With the druid, yeah. I fell in love with the druid, but like the gameplay is awesome as the druid, but I ran into the same problems that I ran into with Diablo 3, where it just got boring after a while. There isn't enough there, or at least when I played it shortly after launch, there wasn't enough there to really keep me going.
Yeah, it's I mean that probably is a complaint about most of the series, is when you get to a certain point deep into it, it is just very repetitive.
If you play 2 like I do,
you take forever to even get anywhere in the game because you play for a certain point and then log out, load back in, and do it all over again, just because you're trying to find as much good loot as you possibly can. And then also, if you play like me, you're using a necromancer, so you're not even swinging your staff, stick, whatever you're using once. You're just walking around letting your skeletons do everything.
Yeah, once you get to a certain point with the necromancer, and that's in every Diablo game with a necromancer, I should say, which is 2, 3, and 4. I don't know about Immortals, haven't played it, never will. But with every Diablo game that has a necromancer, you get to a point where you don't even need a weapon. I mean, you don't even need armor. You can just go into battle naked and just let your skeletons do the work.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up Immortal, see some reviews on it. So yeah, that's probably the most infamous thing for Diablo is, sadly, it's Immortal, which got announced with a huge bang, where the people behind it actually were up on stage and basically said, "You all have phones, don't you?" And that got quite a reaction, because you're telling people who play on console and PC their next new big game is not going to be on console or PC, which isn't on PC now. Yeah, they added it to PC, even though it's still the phone game.
Oh, they brought it to PC.
Yeah. I'm surprised it didn't make its way to Switch too.
Still never played.
It doesn't seem worth it, but it is a middle story. It actually takes place between Diablo 2 and 3, just to kind of like fill in some gaps of how you got from the world being like this to being like that, which wasn't really needed. Nobody asked for it, but we got it.
Yeah,
But let's see some reviews. I'm gonna try to go for reviews this year.
I feel like it's going to be mostly people who like it at this point.
Oh, okay. Let's share this. I'm loving this. Share window. So before I share it, what do you think it's going to say?
And this is a modern review.
The newest one is actually from yesterday.
I think it's going to talk about how they love it. I think the majority of newer reviews, I could be totally wrong, but I think the majority of newer reviews are going to be people who probably stuck with it for a long time and have now left a review on the game. That's what I think. I could be absolutely wrong.
All right. So keep in mind, this is for iPhone first.
Okay.
So
oh boy.
That is the overall score right there. It has a 0.5. The newest review from yesterday. If you want to be ripped off endlessly, fall through the map, lose your brain cells in a negative IQ level PvP mechanics, and sit down with buyer's remorse, then this is the game for you.
That checks out. That sounds right.
Yeah. So we're going
only 4%.
We're going to find some positive ones. Oh, that person lies. That person lies. From everything I read, this person lies right there. Run smooth, all that is just lies.
Yeah.
So top tier mobile game, its only weakness is the pure pay to win PvP. If you play games for PvP, skip this one unless you're a whale, which is
to be expected. That's why Blizzard wanted to make this one in the first place.
Yeah.
It was sadly a cash grab.
Yeah, what was it, like $80,000 to be the top level, like to fully level out your dude? It's like $50,000 to $80,000.
Yeah. Yep. Don't need to spend to have fun, which is true. If you don't want to play PvP, you can play it for free. Just avoid all the PvP stuff.
Well, here's the thing, though. I did look a little bit into Immortals, and if I'm not mistaken, I could be totally wrong here, but I think I remember seeing that you needed to get these like crystal things to help you level up, and you could get them through the game, quote unquote, but you could also buy them. And it's one of those things where if you want to grind all day, every day for like 5 years straight, then sure, you could do that. Or you could pay $80 and get the level stuff. So no, that's not just PvP pay to win for me. That's pay to win, period.
Yep. So we're going to stay on the topic of just newer ones. So the other one was August, and they gave it a 1, which is a good score. It's higher than their overall score. So disappointed. The game starts off decent, but quickly the greedy developers start to bait you into microtransactions, and end game just becomes a massive gotcha.
Yep. That's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, it's the end game stuff. Like if you want to get like through the end game, if you want to do the end game, you've got to pay money.
Then this person, I don't understand them. I'd rather play the day before than this game. This game is like peanut butter on pizza. Trash. Well, I'm sorry, but Scooby-Doo and a pup named Scooby-Doo had peanut butter on his pizza, and he said it was amazing.
Whoa, now hold on. You're going to tell me as the pizza bird, okay? You're going to tell me that Scooby-Doo, my beloved Scooby-Doo, put peanut butter on a pizza?
Absolutely.
Oh, well, he's dead to me. He's dead to me. I'm sorry. He's dead to me. You don't do this. You're going to pull Italian out of me that isn't there. You never do this.
Pay to win only 650,000 euros.
Wait a minute. I thought it was like, I mean, euros are worth more than US dollars, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I thought so. I mean, maybe he didn't mean the K, because later on he says 1/3 650 euros, which I don't get that.
Oh, okay. So it's comparable. €1 is worth $1.10. So they're basically the same. So
Yep.
650 euros. No, but it was thousands. It was tens of thousands. We looked at that with the last show, right? With the microtransaction show.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad.
It's terrible.
But there are some people who play it. They're talking about Xbox in this. Look, I think Blizzard is one of the greediest, overrated companies in the gaming industry. I am happy Xbox bought them and is going to fire all those clowns. Well, you're wrong there. That's not happening.
Bro.
Instead, they're praising them. So,
okay.
How could you look at Xbox and be like, "Oh no, they're not like terrible, greedy POS trash people"?
Yeah.
How can you look at any of the companies in the gaming industry that aren't like 10-person dev team indie studios and think that they're not greedy people? We'll say people.
Yeah. Yeah, greedy creatures.
Greedy things.
Oh, yeah, here we go. So Diablo Immortal is extremely fun and in some ways is much better than its mainline release, Diablo 4.
No. I'm just gonna call that no, it's not. I don't like Diablo 4 has a ton of problems. It's not better than Diablo 4.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just crazy talk. I've never
That's
played
insane.
4, but that's just crazy talk. I've seen pictures and videos of both of them. There is no way.
Like, dude, I don't think there's a single metric you could be like, yeah, it's better than Diablo 4. I just don't think that's possible with Diablo Immortals. Or Immortal, whatever they're calling it. Diablo Phone. No, 4 has problems. 4 has a lot of problems. I'm not a big fan of 4. I think it needs more to it. Maybe they've updated it since I played it. I don't know. I don't have faith in the DLC. I think it's probably going to be another way overpriced cash grab. But the gameplay was really good. The core gameplay of Diablo 4 is the best in the series. It's that's all it has that's the best in the series, but at least that is good. Everything else is just meh, in my opinion.
yeah. So when did you get into Diablo to begin with?
So interesting enough. Did I mention the friend who showed me Warhammer on the Warhammer show? Yeah. So that friend was playing Diablo 2. I would hang out with him a lot. He was a good amount older than me. I mean, he was still a kid too, but he was in high school and I was in middle school. He was deep in high school. I'm just starting middle school. So we hung out and he was always pretty cool. He's a cool older kid who decided to talk to me. And he was playing Diablo 2. And then he was like, hey, there's we could take turns playing this if you want. When I die, you could pick it up. I'm like, all right. And I was like, whoa, this is nuts. I absolutely loved it. I'd never played anything like it. It was cool, bloody, you got cool drops. And I love this stupid, really bad voice acting, but it's charming. And I love the story bits that I picked up. So yeah, I'd say middle school is when I got into Diablo 2, and then I went back later and played 1. But I was there for the release of 3, and I played it through 2 or 3 times at least after it came out. But what about you?
I got into it with the release of it on PlayStation, probably a couple years after. I don't think I got it in 98. I believe I got it closer to 2000 or something like that. But yeah, that was actually shown at first on PC, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Just I mean, I had seen games like the Icewind Dale and stuff like that, Baldur's Gate.
Yep.
So seeing this, I was like, okay, this is cool. You're just walking around, you're just destroying everything. You can just walk around and kill everything. You have a bunch of different character types you can choose from. I thought that was epic, and it wasn't as skill point focused as Baldur's Gate was.
Yeah,
it was more. You can be a little more lax with it, and you're not going to completely just wreck your character. I mean, you could if you try, you can. Like I've tried that. Just like I'm just gonna put a point in everything, and then you're just trash. But yeah, I mean it was the darkness of it to see that like, oh, games can be dark, going from like stuff like Mario, Croc, and other stuff for the PS1. Like seeing this, I was like, okay,
games can be dark and still be cool. They don't have to be like horror games. This is like a horror setting, but it's not horror.
Yeah,
I think that's what really won me over with it.
I like that you get to fight demons and stuff. Like I always love, like, well, not always love, but I like its presentation of like Christian mythology.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty cool the way they represent like angels, the way they show Diablo himself and demons and like the forces of hell. It's just it's dark, but like you said, it's not like a horror setting or anything. I mean, it's a horrible setting. I would never want to be there, but it's just cool. The presentation is really dope, and that got me on board too. That, and like I always love when I could play a total religious zealot, because it's kind of like the absolute opposite of myself. So it's just a fun archetype to play, is this like hardcore shaved head, tattooed scriptures on the face, like religious zealot. And you couldn't really get that in Diablo 2, but I could at least act like I was that in Diablo 2.
Yeah. Yeah, 2 was the game that really won me over for the series. That's when I got more interested into like the story and what's going on. And besides just running through like, oh, I'm just going to run around like an idiot and kill things, I actually started paying attention with this one. I got into it late too. I didn't play it in 2000. I know that. I played it a few years after that, but this one hooked me. I like everything about it. Really, where you start off at is great. You're in that little camp or in the town camp, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, you walk outside the gates, which each playthrough it changes. Like, is it going to be at the top? Is it going to be on the side? Like where your exit to the place is? Let me know. Like, hey, each playthrough will be at least partially unique.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's not completely unique because like everything else ends up coming out to be very, very similar, but at least it gives you that impression of like, hey, it's different.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the characters feel so radically different too. Like it's the way you build your character and how you fight and the loot that you get was all different based on what character you picked. And this was in a time like before character creation was so important in video games. So I didn't really mind that you got to pick a preset character. In fact, I thought it was cool that you had multiple characters that you could pick from instead of just being one protagonist and playing through the game that way. And I think I got into it was around 2008. If we're going to put a year to it, it was around 2008, 7 or 8, I think is when I got into it. But I just thought it was a cool idea, and then it got really hard, and I only played it at my friend's house. Like I only played it with him, and then I picked it up on PC. I got that big, I think you have it, the big long box.
Yep, the battle chest.
Yep, I got that.
Dope.
And played it on my first PC, and I beat it once, and then never played it until the re-release, like the remaster on PS4 and PC. That I dropped it since then. Yep. I probably played more of 3 than 2. I've probably played more of Diablo 3 than any other Diablo. I went back, I think it was like last year probably like 2 or 3 years ago at this point. I went back and played and beat Diablo 1, which holy God, that got ridiculous after a bit. Yeah. But it wasn't nearly as long or as boring as the other Diablo games, because like you died in like 1 hit or 2 hits if you got unlucky, but so did everything else really, aside from bosses.
Yeah. So
it felt better to play than newer Diablos, in my opinion.
Yeah. 2, I've probably spent the most time in altogether, combining it with Resurrected. But I don't get very far into it. I just like to play the beginning like 10 hours over and over and over and over, because I can't choose just one character. So it's like, okay, well, I played it for about 10, 20 hours. Let's start over. But yeah, that's also with a lot of, like I said, I'll play it, go through it, and then be like, okay, well, now I'm just going to save, quit, and then start back up and do it all over again, even though I don't need to.
That's
Just
most people
hoarding the loot. Yeah.
But like, I don't care what any idiot says online. Most people don't beat video games. They just don't.
Yeah. 3,
And I mean,
it's the one I got the furthest in. I've never beat it, but I got to the end of it. I was playing co-op with somebody, and then once we stopped hanging out, that was the end of that. I just never went back to it because I was like, well, now I'm in a co-op session, super at the end of the game, like I basically right before the final fight, and then that ended. And I was like, well, I'm not going back through it again. I tried playing it once. Because I think I have it on. I'm pretty sure I got it in a bundle for the Switch. I could be wrong there, but I was playing a little bit of it, and then I got tired of it.
Yeah, 3 I got on. Oh, what?
No, I was just gonna say it's too repetitive.
Yeah, dude. Like, I got 3 on release for what? I think the 360. I'm pretty sure it was on the 360.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got 3 on release on the 360. It had problems at release. I mean, all Blizzard games have had problems at release. Basically, most games do that, even back then. But they fixed a lot of it, and I played the hell out of it after they fixed some of the bigger issues. I beat it with the Barbarian. I beat it with the Mage guy. I beat it with who else? There's one other character. What's the other character? Oh, later I came back and beat it with the Crusader guy. I think he's just called the Crusader, but he was added with the Reaper of Souls DLC. So I've beaten Diablo 3 a lot. I've played through it a lot. I've done a lot with it. I put most of my time in Diablo has been with Diablo 3. And I think it does just get boring after a while, but the most recent time that I played it was like a couple of years ago, and that was the first time where I was like, this just isn't keeping me anymore. And I don't know if that's me as a person, like getting older and having different opinions on gameplay and stuff, or if it's because of, quote, like being a modern gamer, how like modern games have changed how we look at older games in a lot of ways too. I don't know if we've just gotten like super catered to with games or have to have our attention held all the time, which I'm not that way with. Like, I could sit and watch like a 5-hour video on YouTube and watch it the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so I don't know. I maybe I've just changed, but I did not feel like it was boring back in the day. I do feel like it gets boring now.
Yeah, I started to feel the drag on it back when I was playing it, getting towards the end. It was cool up until you get to like, I think it is hell or wherever you're at, where it's just nonstop bombardments and like waves and waves of enemies. And I was like, I should be into this, but my character's basically maxed out on all the skills they're going to get. I'm not going to see anything new from this point on, just more and more and more enemies. And I just got kind of tired of it. I did need something more to keep me interested in it, like make my character have another tier of moves they could learn or anything, just anything. And they couldn't do that.
And that's a big thing, is like, especially the leveling in Diablo 3 was a total step back. Like the character progression from a level perspective was a huge step. I'd say like 4 or 5 steps back from Diablo 2. You unlocked like, I don't know, let's say like 20 different skills, but you could only use like 5 at a time. And it just, like you unlocked so many per every couple of levels at the first half of the game, that it's like, what, I just have to rely on loot and like prestiging basically at this point. And that just doesn't do it for me. I know it doesn't do it for you either.
Yep. Yeah, the loot that is cool to get, but it doesn't. Even if the loot like
changed my moves more, that would be cool. Like the regular attack moves.
But I mean, I played through it the most of the monk, and the monk does like 2 different things. And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my favorite was probably the well, outside of lore stuff, because the Crusader is my favorite lore wise, because again, religious zealot, I love that. But my favorite, like for just raw gameplay, was probably the Necromancer, because it's stupid powerful, and it's always stupid powerful.
Yeah,
you just feel good.
Yeah, Witch Doctor was kind of fun. Demon Hunter was great, because that was the dual crossbows, wasn't it?
Yep, real quick too.
Yeah. Yep. That one was fun. That's what me and the person were playing with. Is I was the monk, they were the demon hunter. They did most of the damage, and I was on heals, but still being able to do a decent amount of damage on my own.
That's a crazy combo.
Yeah, it was great because I wouldn't die. My punches healed me, so every time I did damage, I was getting healed, and then I could just bust off a AOE heal. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I always wanted to play with the monk, but they're like a big thing with me. I was telling my wife about this. Like, I don't care if I find an armor set in a video game that is like stats wise, even like significantly better than what I'm currently wearing. If it doesn't fit the rule of cool for whatever I have available to me, it's not getting worn. So with the monk, a lot of the stuff that you get for the monk, aesthetically, I just don't like that much. So the rule of cool is number one for me. So I'm not like, I have never played the monk, even though I really want to. The gameplay seems pretty cool, but the rule of cool just never won me over with the monk. But
well, just get a mod that makes him the way you want him. Have him be butt naked.
Well, that would be the best. I mean, like if I could just, I'd have flashbacks to Dark Souls, you know.
But I'm not saying give him a diaper, just butt naked.
Well, can we have like dick physics? Because if so, then yes. But I looked this up. It looks like Diablo 3 still has around 3 million active players every month, dude.
Wow.
Every month. But then
yeah, that's crazy.
I can't get hard numbers on Diablo 4. I could look at the Steam charts, and the Steam, and that's not representative of maybe it is most of the people. The all-time peak for Diablo 4 on Steam was kind of shy of 40,000 players at once. It looks like in the last 24 hours, the peak was 12,760, and about 8,000 people were playing an hour ago. And that's just on Steam. So I would say that there are probably a significant amount of people, more people playing Diablo 3 right now than Diablo 4.
Yeah, I didn't even know that 4 came out on PS4. I thought that was just next gen only.
Yeah, I didn't know that, actually. I thought it was just next gen too.
Yeah, because I was going to say that could be a reason for it, because I know there's still a large player base for both Sony and Xbox that just haven't upgraded yet. Like, I'm one of them. I refuse to upgrade. I don't see a point for it. Yeah, there's a couple games I'd play, but I know me. I would go buy Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or whatever, and I would hate myself for doing it because I hate Remake. So to get Remake Part 2 would just be me saying like, hey, look at me make bad financial decisions.
There's one game you would be required to get, obligated. It's your democratic duty to buy that game.
No, I can't play Helldivers.
I mean, you have to do
too scary.
Part.
It's too scary.
It can genuinely get kind of scary. Oh man, I love Helldivers so much. I'm literally trying to sell it to like everyone who plays video games. I'm like, just buy Helldivers.
Yeah, that would be a good game to go for.
Well, yeah, dude, it's so good. But again, the gameplay loop is, if it's not something you're super into for like the story and stuff, it can get kind of boring. I find that with a lot of games now. Like, just the gameplay loop just isn't enough to hold. And I know I'm not alone. Isn't enough to hold a lot of people. I found that issue with Diablo 4, and the story was actually pretty good in Diablo 4, at least for a good chunk of it from what I played. Like, the story is interesting. The graphics are great. The gameplay is good. The classes are cool. There's some like the Druid is hands down the best class. If anyone doesn't think that, they're just wrong. Like the Druid is dope.
Story and gameplay both don't matter, because look at Concord.
It had the best stories, it had the best characters, the best gameplay, and it lasted like a week.
Dude, it was the best game ever made. Period.
Yeah.
Did anyone even play it? Like, were the servers up for long enough for people to play it?
Like, it had over 1,000, I think, 1,000 players.
That's it.
Yeah, it wasn't high. I remember hearing that. I was like,
well, that's bad.
That is bad.
Dude, I feel so bad for the developers, man. I laugh at the investors and the companies, like they could rot in hell, but I feel really bad for the developers.
Yep. Well, if you want to feel bad for developers and you want to keep looking at Sony, Guerrilla Games, their next game is the Horizon MMO.
Oh God. Oh, I forgot about that, dude.
Yep.
Oh no.
I don't see that going well at all. I just don't. There's no way.
It's not like MMOs, like for every MMO you've heard of, there's like 5,000 that didn't even get off the runway. Like they because you need a huge player base for an MMO to survive, even its initial like takeoff. You need tons of people. And you need a lot of hype. You need a lot of like engagement. You need a lot of microtransactions. You need like all this stuff has to happen for an MMO to survive. And the ones that have survived for anywhere past like 5 years, it's really more luck than anything else. Or because like in the case of World of Warcraft, it was the only MMO that people were really playing at the time in mass. Like you had EVE and stuff, but the majority of people,
whoa, Dark Ages of Camelot.
Oh, the Dark Age of Camelot. But like when you think
that
of
was
an
the
MMO,
game. I'm sad that one died.
It is sad. Like that was awesome. Especially okay, I love when MMOs have like the you could do whatever you want approach. Like I could come up to a player and be like, look, dude, you could join my clan, but you have to put everything you have in this chest so we know we can trust you. Okay.
Yep.
See ya. But so like I love that, but no, I mean I don't think this Horizon MMO is going to do well at all.
Yeah, it's going to flop.
Yeah,
unless it comes out for Switch too. That would be crazy. That would be insane. I mean, it's already insane that they're putting the Lego Horizon game out on Switch. That's nuts.
Yeah. That is kind of crazy. It's the gaming industry is being shaken right up lately, dude.
Yep.
Well, did you see the Ubisoft news? I'm actually surprised you didn't pull this. There was a little bit more news about Ubisoft.
Oh, how the owner is teaming up with Tencent to look at buying it out.
They're
which
looking
is weird because it's the brothers. They're Tencent and the brothers are going to buy it jointly. And it's like, well, you already own it.
Well, see, there's a reason for that. They want to make it private. So Ubisoft stock won't be an issue. Yeah,
which is scary.
Well, it's scary. It's really scary because Tencent is behind it. Like Tencent should be scared no matter what when those like vultures swoop up a company. But it also maybe there's a chance. There's a small chance, but there's a chance that it might be the best thing for Ubisoft. It might be.
Yeah, I mean, it would be bad for games if Embracer Group bought them or Microsoft bought them. That would be the end of them.
Oh,
like they're definitely dead at that point. But yeah, I mean, Tencent's not any better than them, but at least the brothers are staying in it, or the family.
That was crazy to me, dude. Like the thought crossed my mind. Like after Shadows, we may never get another Assassin's Creed game again. Like that.
Yeah, or Far Cry.
Or a ton of other, like Ghost Recon, like all of these huge games. We may never get another title. And I've never had that thought pop into my head with a studio that big before.
Yeah. Yeah, it's massive. It's crazy. And I'm kind of sad because they made that Mario Rabbids game, which was big for two reasons. One, It's a studio that's not a Nintendo studio that had the rights to make a Mario game, which is just baffling.
That's crazy.
The first one was great. It is a fantastic game. I never bought the second one because I was like, well, I'll beat the first one. And I never beat the first one, so I never bought the second one. But I do plan on going back and actually one day beating it because I did like the game. But yeah, like they do like these good little games that don't seem to sell. The second one didn't sell much. That Prince of Persia side scroller, fantastic Castlevania game or Metroidvania game, and it didn't sell.
That's what I mean. Those types of games just don't sell well at this point. Like there's a fan base, there's a player base, but for a giant megacorp like Ubisoft Corporation, you know what I mean? It's just not enough. It doesn't cut it.
Yep.
I was hearing today, I can't remember what game it was. I think it was not Fallout, my bad. Halo Infinite sold less copies than Metroid Dread.
I'm kind of not surprised. They put out Halo Infinite as multiplayer first, and the multiplayer part is free, and you had to buy the campaign, which to me just tells me your priorities are totally wrong. Like why? I mean, yes, multiplayer has always been a huge, there are two pillars in Halo. One is the campaign, the other is multiplayer, and they are equally as important. But you just put the importance on multiplayer more than the campaign. And that was also apparent in the campaign.
Yeah. Yep. But speaking of advertising, you know what game had the best advertising? It's because the whole world worked with them, like Canada themselves caught on fire for this game to be advertised properly.
What?
Diablo 4. There were those posters, those huge billboards in New York, and the sky is red and filled with smoke because of the fires in Canada. And you just see this pictures of the billboard. It was the best thing ever. It's like, yes,
I forgot.
You did it. You did it. Blizzard set Canada on fire.
I forgot about that, dude. It was the worst, best marketing that's ever happened.
Yeah. That was great.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah. And for legal reasons, I don't actually believe that Blizzard set Canada on fire, but they may have set Canada on fire.
Yeah, let me see if I can find this.
Yeah, here we go. Let me share my screen. Because those were fantastic, fantastic bad days.
Go away. Oh, it won't let me just zoom in. But yeah, so you can see it's all orange because of the smoke and all that and the fires from Canada. And this is all you see. Everybody had to stop and take that picture because it was it's perfect. Welcome to hell, New York. And yeah, it looks like hell at the moment.
That was the best. Yeah, I forgot about that, but good God, dude. You can't get better situational advertisement than that. It does not get better than that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great. But before we move off of the topic of Diablo, what to you would make a good Diablo 5 should they ever do it in the year 2052 or whenever the heck Blizzard decides to pay attention to it again?
Oh, so one would be you could have multiplayer. That's fine. I don't care. You could put it in, but let me play through the whole thing offline. That's number one. Okay. And I think most people would agree. Let me play the damn game without internet. Okay.
Yep.
Two, which is sad that has to be the number 1 point for me anyway. Two would be just probably take all the stuff you would add as loot in patches later and then take 2 times that afterwards and have that in the initial game. Have that in the initial release, and also probably put a little more focus on the writing and the lore and the story, and have more stuff to level up, more moves to get, more abilities to use, just and maybe do something, switch it up, have a think tank come together and come up with a bunch of ways that you could make switching out moves more engaging. That would be the key things for me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
what
that
about
would
you?
be good. I would like to, like see a whole skill tree rework. One of my favorite skill trees is from a Final Fantasy game, and a lot of people don't like it, but the way that it's set, well, it's actually 2 games, Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy 12. 12 is my more preferred one. As you went through, you earned job points by killing enemies, leveling up, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And through there, you would be able to unlock, like, you have to buy a license to use X weapon, and that costs so many job points. And you would do that for the whole thing, and you have like this huge like chessboard, like crazy sprawling board. You have to unlock all these little squares for in order to use different weapons, different skills, and let you kind of like cross train characters.
Okay.
So like even though you're a warrior, you should be using like a big sword and a shield or something like that. You can then get like some kunai or something like that. You could get a staff and do some magic attacks, like have them like cross in some ways. Like I don't need my warrior to be like my knight to be casting spells, but it would be cool to eventually get to a point where you could like kind of cross train a character. You start off
like
as one and then you
multi-class.
become but like have it grow into that. Don't start off multi-classed.
Yeah.
Like start off as a knight and then turn into like a spell sword at the end.
Well, that kind of brings me to like I just thought of this, like to have a more organic, and I don't know how you would do this. Okay. Like I'm not some kind of game developer or anything. I don't know, but it'd be cool if we're just wish listing here. It'd be cool to have like a more organic class growth / progression where it could maybe even tie into story and like you grow as a character both like through the story but also as a character. It's tied together, and if you want to pick up spells and stuff, maybe there's a guy you meet in the story who's like, hey, I'm a wizard, got the pointy hat and everything, I could teach you how to shoot fire. And you could be like, as a knight, okay, cool, I'd like to learn that. And you have to like work towards that through either story beats or through like just general gameplay progression. Like that would be cool.
Yep. Yeah, it'd be dope. Like give us something to make the characters more dynamic. That way it makes less of a chance of like me and you playing the same character and having the same exact build. There's basically going to be no way.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can be more unique, make a more dynamic party if we team up.
And that's the ultimate battle though too, because it being a true patriot from Super Earth, you run into the meta problem, which you could have all these different skills and stuff like that and have that cool progression, but unless you like radically change the way the game is designed from how most people have been doing it, you're going to run into the meta problem. So a lot of people are going to wind up having the same build anyway. And if they could find a way to fix that, that would be the ultimate Diablo. Like that would be one of the ultimate RPGs, period.
Yeah. You could kind of RNG it.
Probably.
Where at the beginning, once you start your file, it determines which NPC you're going to see, which can teach you a spell.
That would be that's a good like start point on how to try and get away from that like class meta. I'm sure you could do more.
Say you're not going to see that NPC till like 10 hours in. Are you really just going to restart because you didn't get the NPC you wanted? Or are you going to try to see how it goes?
Some people will restart. Absolutely. But like they'll just keep restarting until they get the guy. But no,
and that's what they should do is they should give you a trophy at that point, an achievement that just says try hard. So you know when you're playing online, you just look at their trophies and be like, oh, I don't want to play with you.
Or and this could be a detriment to some people, but a selling point to others. Have the only way to save in the game is Iron Man mode. So you only have one save.
Yeah.
And maybe limit you to one character. You could, well, I don't know how you do that without doing like account bound stuff. I don't know. That's a little hardcore. That's
you do it the way that Kojima wanted. Didn't he at one point say that he wanted a game to like explode or something like that?
Yeah, like you can't play it anymore.
Yeah, it's done. It's a fried game. If you want to start a new character, go buy a new copy.
That's pretty extreme, but I would be on board with that. Like I would definitely be on board with that.
That would be wild.
It would be fitting for the harsh, hellish, presentation that Diablo is going for.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
It would be good. It would be good. It reminds me of I told you about Sword Art Online, how someone actually tried to make that helmet that they wear in the game, because in that anime, when they go into the game, they put the helmet on like it's a VR game. And if they were to take it off because of the madman who made the game, they'll be killed.
Yeah.
So the guy tried to make a real one where it actually just like has like explosives in it. So if you die in your game, you die in real life.
Well, dude, that reminds me too. There's a vest that's actually like they have working prototypes effectively that you put it on, and when you get shot in a video game, it actually feels close to being shot in real life.
Nice.
So I think I saw it on one of the Helldivers communities. It's like, dude, imagine if you're playing against bots wearing this vest and getting shot every 5 seconds. Like you're in your room like, oh God, no.
Yep.
Oh
great.
man.
Go play some GTA.
Well, it's a GTA Online. I want to see if it simulates the pain of being struck by a missile but not dying right away. The masochist vest.
All right, let's move on. We watched a movie today.
Yes.
And it was a movie. It
was
was The Green Knight. It's based off a classic story, which I knew it was based off a classic story, just didn't know of the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the closest thing I could think of, at least when we were looking at movies, to match the theme of Diablo. And it doesn't, but it was still a movie. And it has some wild stuff in it. Yeah, so basically, this guy is the nephew of the king. And while it's on Christmas Day, and his mom's off at some ritual because she's a witch for the kingdom.
Yep.
And he's with his uncle, who's the king, and they're sitting there talking all this stuff, and all of a sudden the door is open, and this guy walks in, and he is the Green Knight. He's basically looks like he's made of wood, but he has like meat and bone underneath it all. It's weird.
He's like a woodland spirit.
Yeah, he comes into the room and he basically says like, hey, he rides on his little bicycle and he's wearing his clown mask. And he's like, do you want to play a game? And the game that he wants to play, the game he wants to play is one of the knights in there, one of the people in there needs to grab a weapon and strike him. And after that, he will give them his axe. And then a year from today, so next Christmas, they have to go to his chapel where he's at, and he will return the blow equally. Which, if you understand what he says there, you don't want to kill him.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't make sense to kill him, because that means you're committing suicide in a year. But yeah, so guy stands up, he's like, I got this. I understand this. And he chops off the dude's head. And that sets off a series of events that's just mind-blowing. This movie has some good acting. I'll give him that. The acting was very good. It has some weird CGI, but that's whatever. It was an A24 film, which they're usually pretty good. They also do go really weird with their stuff, so it makes sense that it's bizarre. But overall, I'm kind of mixed on this one. I'm going to agree with IMDb. It's about a 6.5, 6, something like that. I give it good score for the acting. The story is interesting enough to keep you entertained, but it is bizarre. It is a very bizarre movie. Now tell me what you think about it.
Okay. So I'm actually, to start, going to tie this into Diablo. Scroll down a little bit to the cast. Okay, right there. So you see Ralph Ennison? He voices one of the main characters in Diablo 4. He has a very, very distinct and iconic voice. He is the Green Knight in the movie. Recognize him right away just from his voice. But he is actually a character in Diablo 4. So there's your tie-in.
Nice.
I did not know that until he spoke in the movie. I'm like, oh, there it is. But Also, scroll back up a little bit, and one other thing. I appreciate this film, but I have some things. The image of the dude with the crown on, okay, facing the camera, that to
Yeah.
me is cool. There's a lot of aesthetic designs in this that are really cool, but that specific thing, the design of the crown, is cool in my opinion because that halo that he has is made to look like the artwork of kings from the Middle Ages and
Yep.
like holy people. They would paint that halo behind their head. That's a cool little detail. There's a lot of cool little details in the movie in like terms of character design, visuals, stuff like that. The Green Knight himself is really cool looking, but I said this before before the show started. It feels like it's presented in a way visually and story wise that you would see someone imagining this story if they were told it in the Middle Ages, if that makes sense. So if you talk to someone in the Middle Ages and told them the story of the Green Knight, which is from the Middle Ages, how this movie shows that story is how someone probably would have visualized it back in the day. And that's not a very popular thing, I think. Like that people probably don't get behind that. It's weird. It's crazy. It's every scene, every place that you see in this movie feels like it is the only place in existence and there is no world outside of it. Did you get that?
Yeah.
It feels like a fever dream.
Yep.
And it kind of is ultimately. Like it's the story of Gawain, one of Arthur's knights, trying to prove that he is a knight or can be a knight. That's the ultimate story in the end. But it's through magic and kind of in a fairy tale kind of way. I don't know. I could talk about this movie for hours, but it's interesting. And like most A24 movies, it's at the very least intriguing in a lot of ways. But I would probably give it like I don't know. It's hard, man. Because I appreciate this movie from a couple angles, but I don't love it. So it's like, I don't know, maybe like at 6, 7. That's where I'd put it probably.
Yeah, right around that IMDb range. They were pretty upfront on it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to see anything else like it. That's the basically the best and worst thing I could say.
Yeah, the main pet peeve I had with the movie is so there's this little fox dude who follows him around, and it's a cute little thing. It's not the greatest CG, but it's a cute little fox thing. But it changes size like 12 different times in the movie, and that is very upsetting to me. I don't like when things are mathed improperly. Yeah, it really, really bugs me. But yeah, he's the size of a dog at some points. Then he's this tiny, tiny, tiny little fox, and it's like, come on, dude. Just choose a size. Choose one size.
Well, and like I said before, I think there's a reason for that. I think there's a reason for that, but I won't say it because I do think that if anyone's watching, they should watch this movie. At least once. I think you should watch this movie.
Yeah, we're not giving it the greatest score ever, but it's definitely one worth watching.
I think it'll grow on me. Like, I think if you ask me in like a year or two, I'd give it probably like an 8 or 9. That's what I think now. I could be totally wrong, but the more I look back on it, it's like, it's wild. It is such a unique movie, and I really like that.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm very sad how at one part, even though it didn't really happen, she did dirty, super dirty.
Yeah,
that was upsetting.
Yep. I know what you're talking about.
I liked this guy when he was the kid. He was hilarious. Yeah, the cast was phenomenal. Like that. Oh, yeah. That is the best part of it. Everybody did a fantastic job. The art direction was great for it. Yeah, it's got a lot of positives. I'll have to go back and watch this 1973 version of it.
Sir Gawain in the Green. Oh yeah, I gotta watch that too. It's probably trash.
Yeah, let's look at it. Let's take a look. There we go. It got worse scores.
Yeah, it's probably so bad, dude.
Yeah.
Arthurian tales did not make good movies in like the 70s and 80s, except for Excalibur. That movie is great.
Oh, that one? Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, there's a documentary on this?
Oh, I want to watch that, dude.
It got better scores than the actual movie.
Well, I feel like the filming and the production of that movie is probably crazy.
Yeah. Yep, had to be intense. But yeah, so check that movie out. It's let's go back and see where it was. We watched on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
And that is all it's on.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have Amazon Prime, go check it out.
Worth renting, in my opinion, too.
Yeah. Oh, where are you going to rent it? There's no more Redbox.
Well, can't you rent it from Amazon? Usually on Amazon Prime.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess if you don't have a Prime membership. Who doesn't have Prime membership? You all have cell phones.
Even with Prime, there are movies that you can still rent on there. Sometimes with older movies, you can only buy, but that's all right in some cases.
I bought a movie off there once. I bought the last, what the heck is it called? Bill and Ted.
I still haven't seen that one.
I like it. I don't know how it did with reviews. I could see a lot of people being upset about it because it's not the same thing as the first two, but it's not a bad movie. I liked it. Well,
that means I'll probably like it then.
Yeah. And then let's move on to our final part. I sent you the link in the private chat if you want to take a look at it.
Yes. So you want me to pull it up and read it?
I can do it. I got my glasses now.
It's up to you. I have no problem with it. I have it up here.
My nifty glasses. Still showing. Okay, so we got SCP 1980. Good year. SCP 1980 is a structure located approximately 2.4 kilometers under the Antarctic ice, approximately 400 kilometers from the South Pole at coordinates redacted. Based on the depth at which it was found, the SCP was constructed approximately 14.5 million years ago in one of the last temperate zones on the Antarctic continent. Usage as a scientific research building is presumed based on findings. First one is a telescope apparently fixed for long-term observation of an area of intergalactic space at coordinates redacted. No significant astronomic bodies or activity noted in this area. Second, approximately 5,000 examples of SCP-1980-1 metallic discs approximately 10 centimeters in diameter, composed of tungsten rhenium alloy and partially overlaid with a crystalline structure of unknown composition. Interrogation of SCP-1980-2 subjects indicate that each -1 contains a consciousness of an individual of unknown sapient race, presumed to be the builders of SCP-1980. Based on the number of SCP-1980-1 found in the SCP is part of a larger, I'm going to stop saying the number, by the way. I'm done with that.
Yeah, it gets ridiculous.
Part of a much larger complex or colony. The third one is a biological containment area containing several primitive humanoids, they're -4, in suspended animation, as well as an entity of -5, closely resembling the description of a redacted within super redacted.
Super redacted.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to call that. It's something.
Blacklist super redacted.
And then the fourth one is -3, a machine used to create additional examples of -1 based on information gained through interrogating -2 subjects. Records documenting the activities of the inhabitants of the SCP. See Addendum 3 for translation of the relevant excerpts. Oh, this is long. This is crazy long.
This is extensive,
all right,
dude.
Before we go on, I'm going to read containment procedures.
I don't know how you contain a building, so I'm kind of curious about that right now. It is immovable. Oh, who would have guessed? It's a building. Research and Containment Site 79 has been built surrounding it under cover of building a neutrino observation telescope. Standard Foundation I can't talk today. Standard Foundation access restrictions apply. All active examples of -1, whether found in the SCP or elsewhere, are to be transported to Site 41 for containment and experimentation. It is critical that no direct human contact is made with an instance of -1 outside of approved experiments. Any person believed to have been exposed to -1 is henceforth designated an example of -2 and is to be contained and transported to Site 41 for interrogation and forcible removal of -1. So what? They now become one of the subjects of it? That's crazy.
That is crazy. That's weird.
Yeah. After removal of the -1, non-D class subjects may be given Class A amnesiacs. We're just going to brainwipe you.
That seems like something the SCP would do.
Yeah. I don't know what MTF is, but those operatives should be aware that it is possible to internally implant -1 within a subject, producing an example of -2 with no obvious anomalies. -2 specimens may be housed in a standard humanoid containment cell and have no unusual care requirements. This is trippy.
This is the coolest one we've done so far, in my opinion. I love alien stuff.
I want to know how you put this 10 centimeter like metal disc in somebody and like have it not be like require them to have like some special treatment or something like that, or like care afterwards.
This whole thing is nuts, dude. I love this.
-3, the mechanism for creation of additional examples of -1 is currently within the SCP. Relocation to Site 41 will be undertaken when possible by Order 05, and that is an O, not a 0, which is weird. By 05 order, SCP 1980-3 is not to be used until such relocation takes place. Biological artifacts -4 and -5 in suspended animation within the SCP are not to be disturbed. If any such items become animate, they should be contained if possible, otherwise terminated.
Oh, wait a minute, dude. 05. Okay, the 05 is the 05 Council, I guess.
All right.
I think so these are the people who have the ultimate control over the Foundation. Yeah, so it's like the heads, like tippity top heads of the Foundation.
Okay.
So it's their direct, like their directive, effectively. Which is like, so coming straight from the top, it's like this is only done with heavy stuff.
Okay, here we go. A human subject in contact with SCP- or with -1 will have his or her mental functions dominated by those of the entity contained within -1. These subjects are designated -2. The process takes approximately 6 hours, during which the subject is unconscious. Upon awakening, -1 will have control of the subject and significant access to the subject's knowledge and memories. Removal of -1 negates this effect, leaving the subject physically unharmed, but disoriented in a manner resembling the application of amnesia.
Knockout juice.
Yes. That is a tongue twister. I don't know why I can't say that word. It's messing me up over and over.
Amnestics?
Yeah, amnestics, but it sounds weird.
It does.
The degree of disorientation is commensurate. Commensurate. Sounds weird too.
That one I know.
With an amount of time exposed to -1. Existing -1 instances contain the consciousness of the builders of 1980. However, it is apparently possible to create additional examples of -1 from any sapient being using -3 and a blank template of -1. 68 such templates were found. The research team the research team working on replicating SCP-963-1, whatever that is, has successfully made use of the SCP materials to create SCP-963-2. So we're going to have to look that one up sometime. Determine it is not possible to recreate -3 or -1 templates using current human technology. That is wild.
SCP-963 is hold on, let me find -2. SCP-963. SCP-963-2. It looks like it's a symbol of the SCP Foundation. On some date, orders were given by 05-9 to attempt to replicate SCP-963-1. All attempts were met with failure until SCP-963-2, at which point subsequent data expunged. All information regarding SCP-963-2 is classified Level 5. Anyone attempting to access further information about SCP-963-2 without Level 5 clearance will be terminated. Oh boy. And it looks like -1 or SCP-963 is a what is it? An ornate amulet approximately 15 centimeters in circumference, made from white gold with 13 blacked out K brilliant cut diamonds surrounding a something oval cut ruby in a starburst pattern. This is all like redacted. It was discovered in the personal effects of someone redacted who had been found dead by apparent suicide, surrounded by a number of supernaturally related books. Our agent in the area found that 963-1 was incapable of being damaged and brought it in according to protocol XLR-8R-blank. Dr. Jack Bright, a junior staff researcher of good standing, was assigned the responsibility of researching 963-1 capabilities and granted access to redacted. Probably this one. Probably granted access to this.
Yeah.
And then later that year, SCP-076-2 broke containment. Don't know what that is. We're going down a rabbit hole here, dude.
Yeah.
Leading to redacted deaths and blank casualties. Dr. Bright was transporting SCP-963-1 by hand past SCP-076-2's containment unit and was among the first killed in breach, KIB. Approximately X days later, D1-113, a task force, tasked to clear the area of rubble, discovered 963-1 among the wreckage and picked it up. An immediate noticeable change came over the team. Interviews follow, so they have interviews of the team. Man, dude.
Yeah. So this gets wild too. I was kind of reading this a little bit. So it mentioned Addendum 3 up there a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
So excerpts from records found within the SCP translated by subject D-19213 while exposed to an instance of -1. Contact lost with redacted. Can only assume the worst. Hope they were able to convert themselves in time. We watch the access point continually. So far, we are safe. We were wrong, redacted. Are pouring out of the access point. So many, they must plan to hit every Class J planet in this part of the galaxy. There is no escape after all. Convert and prepare. What else can we do? 70% of us lost. Need to find the new host of the modules, or for the modules. The local life here is incompatible for transfer. Redacted tried to merge with a captured redacted. Knew that wouldn't work. They are too different. One of our last. Our bodies may feed the screamers, but perhaps someone will find our minds.
What?
Yeah. So what is a screamer?
So this is
it's a whole new SCP is the screamer.
This is crazy, dude. So this is an alien race that
Oh,
was
God.
being basically like genocided by something called the Screamers. And they found like refuge here, and they thought their bodies would be taken, but they could preserve their minds, and that's probably why they created this technology, because of this genocide, effectively.
Yep.
That's
So
crazy,
I am
dude.
going to make a note of this one. This is 1050. This is the one we'll talk about next time.
Yeah, that it has to do. We got to go down this rabbit hole.
Yep. So we'll save SCP. It's a safe one. So that means there was no like danger from it. Like, or it's not that there's no danger to it, but it doesn't need to be contained. There's no
Maybe
reason to contain it. And you could contain it easily if you wanted to.
Well, so yeah, I have so many questions. I have so many questions.
Yep.
Oh,
it's going to be, and just quickly scrolling through it, it's interesting. It's historical. So, yeah, that was our SCP. It was a very bizarre one, a very big rabbit hole, and that was quite fun.
Best one.
That's really all we had for you.
But hold up, we got David. I know you fellows are into games that have campaigns and adventures. Oh yeah, dude, Jackbox. I like the old Jack games. You Don't Know Jack, back on the PC. Played that one when I was a kid. That's fantastic. It was like a 3-player. It was a 3-player question game. Have you ever heard of Jackbox games?
I don't. Are they like party games? Like the party games? The Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So You Don't Know Jack was like a quiz show game. And you would play, it would have 3 players. You could play just by yourself and 2 NPCs. But one of the things you could do is if you didn't think someone else was going to know the answer to this one, you could choose screw somebody, and you hit them with a screw, and it's like a screw you. You now have to answer this one.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a fun little one. Jackbox Games do a show every Friday with a group. Oh, I got to watch this.
That's cool.
Yeah, we got to watch that.
Yeah, we'll pop in.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Jackbox Games takes it to a new extreme. There's a bunch of, they're all like what? They have 4 different versions out by now, or 5, which have like bundles of games in them.
So I have seen them. I just don't know if I played them.
You need to find a reason to play them, a way to play them. They are great.
Oh, there's like 8, at least 8.
8?
Oh wait,
oh goodness,
no, 10. I see 10.
They're already on pack 10.
Yep. Jackbox Party Pack 10 came out in October 19th, 2023.
God, I am far behind. I haven't played it in since the days of Doomus.
This is
cool.
Dude.
It was a ways back. But yeah, we will definitely check that out. And I got to reach out to you too, David, about doing one for what was October 26th.
The spooky.
Talk about the spooky events. But yeah, I'll reach out to you on that one. Yeah, that was our show for this week. And hopefully next week I don't hit my mic as much. I hit it like 4 times today.
That was great. I got to get used to wearing glasses again. They keep sliding down. It's like I want to reach up and like fix them right away. But yeah, so we have videos coming out. There's going to be a pretty controversial one coming out on Monday. Just a heads up to anybody. I say watch it because it's me just not caring, and I don't put too much emotion into it either, because I something upset me last week, and I was like, yep, now I got to do this one. I got to talk about things that people don't understand. So I'm going to be doing that. I got to edit it too, because I bring up what is it? Helldivers? Yeah, Helldivers. And I call it Super America, not Super Earth. So I'm going to have a future me jump in there and edit that. Just be like, hey, by the way, dude, I'm going to say it wrong.
Just straight up, so my last video, I talked about the Tyranids in one of the games for the list video, right? Yeah. And I said Terminids by accident. So I put up, like, I've been playing too much Helldivers 2. Just keep it as Super America and just put a little flash up that says
every time I say it, 'cause I say it like 3 times.
Dude, that honestly, that would be good.
Yeah. So that's going to be coming up. yeah, so check us out. We have our weekly videos Monday and Thursday, and maybe we'll throw in some extras. Like I did a short this week on controversy of a video game, which was it got me responses like I figured it might. But
We gotta do
yeah,
more shorts.
yeah, we got to do more of everything, more one-offs too. But yeah, if you guys didn't know, we got new logo and stuff, a new banner. Check out our page. This was done by artist Loki. They did very good work on it. If they're watching, thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, so until next week, you guys take care.
Stay safe.